There are days that change a family forever. For the Swifts, July 18th in Nashville will be etched in their memories, not just for the relief and gratitude that followed Scott Swift's successful heart surgery, but for the love and support that surrounded them in the hospital corridors and at home. This is a story about family, resilience, and an unlikely hero who stepped up when it mattered most, Travis Kelce. The sun was just beginning to cut through Nashville's humid haze that Friday morning as the city bustled with its usual country charm. But inside Vanderbilt Hospital, all eyes were on one room, room 417, where Scott Swift, father of pop superstar Taylor Swift, was resting after a daunting coronary artery bypass surgery. The past 5 days had been a whirlwind for the Swift family, with fear, hope, and sleepless nights blending into one long emotional marathon. Yet, on this morning, a new chapter was about to begin. Travis Kelce, the NFL star and Taylor Swift's current boyfriend, had arrived at the hospital before sunrise. Dressed in hospital scrubs, a black cap perched backward on his head, Travis blended into the surroundings, but his presence was impossible to miss. He was more than a visitor, he was a pillar, standing tall for the woman he loved and the family that had welcomed him into their hearts. A nurse, who had watched Travis over the last few days, later recounted, "Travis was always here early, making sure Scott had everything he needed. He checked on the nurses, brought us coffee, and thanked us constantly. It wasn't just about being a famous boyfriend, he genuinely cared about every detail." When the discharge papers were finally signed and Scott was ready to leave the treatment area, Travis was the one who gently helped him into a wheelchair. Scott, visibly tired but determined, wore an optimistic smile, a silent testament to the strength the family had shown. As Travis wheeled Scott down the hallway, the tension that had gripped the family for days seemed to dissolve, replaced by something warmer and infinitely more powerful: hope. But the moment that truly stole the day belonged to Andrea Swift, Taylor's mother. As she caught sight of her husband being wheeled out, Andrea's composure gave way. Tears streamed down her face, not of sorrow, but of deep, overwhelming joy. Without hesitation, she reached for Travis's hand. In that instant, the NFL star and the matriarch of America's most famous pop family shared a silent understanding, the kind that needs no words. "I don't know what to say other than thank you," Andrea told nearby reporters, her voice trembling. "Thank you, Travis. You were there for us through the worst, and today you helped me bring Scott home. I'm forever grateful." This wasn't a rehearsed statement for the cameras. Andrea's gratitude was raw and real, her relief palpable in every word. She hugged Travis tightly, and for a moment, the world outside, the fans, the photographers, the headlines vanished. This was simply a family holding on to what mattered most. Outside the hospital, life began to resume its normal rhythm. Andrea, Travis, and a few close family members gathered in front of a small store near Hillsborough Village. Travis, clutching a brown paper bag filled with fresh fruit and snacks, waited as Andrea spoke quietly into her phone, updating another loved one on Scott's condition. There was laughter, emotion, and a sense of camaraderie that comes only from weathering a storm together. Travis's involvement over the past week had left a mark. From the moment Scott was admitted 5 days earlier, Travis had been a constant presence, sometimes seen napping for a few hours on a couch outside the ICU, always returning with the same determined energy. He wasn't just Taylor's boyfriend anymore, he had quietly become part of the Swift family. A close friend of Andrea's summed it up best. "Travis is more than just Taylor's boyfriend. He's family now. Scott loves him. They talk sports and music for hours. He's made this whole experience just a little bit easier." As the group made their way back to the Swifts' private Nashville mansion, a new sense of normalcy began to settle in. The family had planned a small celebration to mark Scott's successful surgery. Taylor's favorite chef had prepared a special meal, filling the house with the comforting aromas of home-cooked food. Donna Kelce, Travis's mother, was there to lend her support, along with a handful of close friends and family, including Jason and Kylie Kelce. Throughout the afternoon, laughter echoed through the hallways, a stark contrast to the anxious whispers that had dominated the past week. Scott, though still nursing his recovery, was in good spirits, surrounded by the people who mattered most. He would need several more weeks to fully regain his strength and would soon begin a physical therapy program at home, supported by a team of Nashville's finest doctors. But what stood out most was the sense of togetherness. Travis and Taylor, both with demanding schedules, were already making arrangements to spend more time with Scott over the coming weeks. It was clear that their priorities had shifted, if only for a little while. Travis's actions that week had gone far beyond what anyone might have expected. For many, his gesture, pushing Scott's wheelchair, comforting Andrea, standing by Taylor's side, was a simple act of kindness. But for the Swifts, it was so much more. It was a profound demonstration of love, gratitude, and unspoken commitment not just to Taylor, but to her entire family. As Andrea shared with a tearful smile, "I never thought I would see Scott smiling after heart surgery." And Travis Kelce was the one who took him out of the hospital. It was a blessing. The story didn't end there. As word of Travis's quiet heroism spread, fans and friends reached out with messages of support and admiration. Social media buzzed with photos and stories from hospital staff and family friends, painting a vivid picture of Travis's unwavering support in those tense days. One image, in particular, captured the essence of the moment. Travis, still in scrubs, pushing Scott's wheelchair, Andrea's hand resting on his shoulder, all three wearing exhausted but genuine smiles. For Taylor Swift, a woman whose life is often lived in the spotlight, this experience was a poignant reminder of the things that truly matter. Fame, fortune, and sold-out stadiums paled in comparison to the simple joy of seeing her father smile and the comfort of knowing her loved ones were safe. As the sun set over Nashville that evening, the Swift house was filled with music, laughter, and the quiet hum of gratitude. In the living room, Travis and Scott swapped stories about football games and rock concerts, their voices occasionally rising above the background noise. Andrea, having finally let herself relax, watched her family with a contented smile. Taylor, meanwhile, sat at the piano, her fingers dancing over the keys as she improvised a soft, hopeful melody, one that spoke of healing, second chances, and the unexpected heroes who show up when you need them most. In the days that followed, Scott's recovery progressed steadily. Travis continued to visit, sometimes bringing flowers or homemade soup, other times just a smile and a listening ear. The bond between the Kelce and Swift families only deepened, forged in the fires of crisis, and tempered by genuine affection. Looking back, Andrea would later say that the events of that week changed everything. "We always knew family was important, but now we know just how lucky we are to have each other and to have people like Travis in our lives." For Travis Kelce, the experience was equally transformative. Being there for Scott and Andrea, helping Taylor through this, "It's something I'll never forget," he shared with a friend. "You realize what matters most isn't what you do on the field, but the people you do it for." As Nashville returned to its slow, southern rhythm, the Swifts and Kelce settled into a new normal, one defined by gratitude, resilience, and the quiet strength of a family that had weathered the storm together. And somewhere in that house, as laughter once again filled the air, a simple truth lingered. Sometimes, the greatest acts of love aren't the ones shared on stage or in the headlines, but the quiet moments of presence and care that happen when no one is watching. This is the story of Andrea Swift's tears of joy, the day Scott Swift came home, and the hero who helped make it possible. And for anyone who's ever wondered what family really means, the answer was written, quite simply, on a summer day in Nashville, where love, music, and a little bit of hope changed everything.